Good morning, friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I request everyone to watch my videos in a sequence for better understanding. If you really like my teaching, please press the like button, share the videos with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. In this video, I want to discuss about the programmed I/O. Before discussing about the programmed I/O, let me discuss about various types of I/O transfer. We have three types of I/O transfer. One is programmed I/O, interrupt driven I/O, direct memory access. Then you can ask me, sir, what is this I/O transfer is? We have an I/O device and we have a memory and we have a CPU. Now, I/O device want to transfer the data to the memory or memory want to transfer to the I/O device. Okay. If anything should happen, if as you know that the system bus is there, the system bus is under whose control? Is under the control of CPU maximum time unless until it is a direct memory access. So the bus master is the CPU. So without the help of the CPU, we cannot transfer the data from the memory to the I/O device or I/O device to memory. So how it will happen is that, suppose let's take that I/O device want to transfer its data to the memory. Then CPU will give the read signal to the I/O device. Then it will give the write signal to the memory. So it will read the content from the I/O device. That data will be transferred to the memory. So what the CPU is doing? It is acting as a mediator between the I/O device and the memory. Now, if CPU is doing this one, we will call it as programmed I/O and interrupt driven I/O. So in the programmed I/O and interrupt driven I/O, if an I/O device want to transfer the data to the memory or memory want to transfer the data to its I/O device, then CPU will act as a mediator. Now if CPU is doing the task, what will happen? CPU is very fast device. It will execute the instructions, more number of instructions, whereas come to the transfer of the I/O device means the I/O device is very slow and the even memory is also slow as compared to the CPU. Am I right or wrong? So let's take that I have a keyboard. Keyboard want to transfer the data to the memory. Meaning is that I want to press one keyboard at a time and that data has to be transferred into the memory. Now using a keyboard, I can transfer one character at a time. So every character CPU has to read and again it has to write it into the memory. Now the CPU speed will fall to the speed of the I/O device if your CPU is involving in the data transfer between the I/O device and memory. Am I right or wrong? As we said that I/O device speed is less as compared to the memory and the CPU. So if the CPU is involving in this data transfer, the speed of the CPU will fall to the speed of the I/O device. Whereas in come to the direct memory access, we have a direct memory access controller is there. What this will do is that it will take the charge of the system bus from the CPU for some amount of time. Okay, because if you want to transfer the data, we need the system bus. So as the system bus is under the control of CPU, CPU is involving in the programmed I/O and interrupt driven I/O transfer. When it comes to the direct memory access, we have a direct memory access controller will be the DMA control will call. That control will take the control of the system bus from the CPU for some amount of time. Okay. Then what it will do, the DMA control will help in the process of transferring the data from I/O device to memory. Then CPU can do its other tasks. So in direct memory access, CPU involvement is less as compared to the programmed I/O and interrupt driven I/O. So I hope you have understood the basics of modes of transfer. Now let me discuss about the programmed I/O in detail. Okay, means how the data will be transferred from I/O device to memory or memory to I/O device using the programmed I/O concept. As I said earlier, let's take that I/O device want to transfer the data to the memory. The CPU first will give the read signal to the IO device, and then once it reads the information, CPU will give the write signal to the memory and it will store the information. Am I right or wrong? So we will discuss this part. IO device, how it is transferring the data to the CPU. Then we will discuss about this part. This part is normal only. Okay. Now we have a CPU. We have a IO interface, because for each input output device we have an interface. Am I right or wrong? We already discussed about it. So CPU will interact with the interface will interact with the IO device. So let me discuss each one. We have a IO read and IO write signal will be given from the CPU. Is it clear? For reading and writing the information. And we have a address bus to carry the address, and we have a data bus to carry the data. And we have a interface. In the interface, we have a data register and we have a status register. The data register is useful for us to store the data. Let's take that I have a keyboard. The keyboard will send one character at a time. So it is sending 1 byte of information at a time. That 1 byte of information will be stored in the data register temporarily. And we have a status register. The use of the status register I will discuss later. Wait for some time. We have a IO device. The use of the IO bus is that we have, in IO bus we have a address bus, we have a data bus, and we have the control bus. I think everyone know what is the use of the data bus, address bus and control bus. Now the data valid and data accepted lines will be there, because the IO device will transfer the data to its interface using the handshaking mechanism for synchronization. What is the purpose of handshaking mechanism? It is an asynchronous synchronization mechanism. Am I right or wrong? It is used. What is the use of the handshaking mechanism? It is used for having the synchronization between the source and the destination. Here the source is the IO device and the destination is the interface. We can have a synchronization in two ways. One is synchronous communication and asynchronous communication. Am I right or wrong? In synchronous we will use the clocks, whereas in asynchronous we can have the strobe signals or handshaking mechanism. So the IO device is interacting with the interface with the help of handshaking mechanism. If you does not know what is handshaking mechanism, I request you to go and watch my previous video for better understanding. Okay. Now let's take that how the data will be transferred. CPU has given the IO read signal to the interface. That information came to the IO device. Now the IO device will send the, let's take that it is a keyboard. Keyboard, what it can do? It can send one character at a time. So that one character of information will be transferred using the data bus in the IO bus. So using the data bus, we will send the one character to the interface. Then one character, let's take that it is sending some C. That C will be stored in the data register temporarily. Am I right? So data register use is that to store the data temporarily. Once the data comes, initially we have a status register, we have a flag. If the flag is a 1-bit information, 1 bit means it can be either 0 or 1. If there is no information in the data register, it will be 0. If there is a data in the data register, it will become 1. So what is the purpose of the status register flag bit is to identify whether we have a data or not. If it is 1, we can understand that data is there in the data register. If it is 0, we can understand that data is not there in the data register. Now once the data is there, meaning is that once the C is there in the data register, then stack flag bit will become 1. Okay, status register flag bit will be enabled as 1. Once the CPU comes to know that the flag bit is 1, then it will read the information from the data register. So what the CPU is doing here, it has given the IO read signal and it is waiting for when this flag bit will be 1. If it is 0, it will keep on searching when it will become 1. Once it becomes 1, then it will read the information. Now what is happening here? The CPU is keep on checking when the flag bit will become 1. So it is not doing any other task. So let's take that IO device is very slow, then it has to wait for so much amount of time. then CPU is not doing other work, so then the performance of the CPU is degrading. Am I right or wrong? Let me take a small example to make you understand. Let's take the two friends are there, X and Y. Okay, both of them have purchased one bike. Both of them collected the money and they have purchased some bike. So what is their purpose is they want to go to some college or something using that bike. Now Y has gone to somewhere, to a movie or something he has gone. Now X wants the bike and he wants to go to college. Let's take that. Okay. Now what the X will do? He will search for the bike keys. If it is not there, he will search the bike. Even if it is not there, then he will search the Y person. Because let's take that X and Y are the roommates. Am I right? First, if you want to drive the bike, first you will search for the bike keys. If the bike keys are not there, you will see whether the bike is there or not. Am I right? As let's take that bike is also not there and bike keys are also not there. Then meaning is that Y went to somewhere. That's what we said. Y went to some movie. Then he will call to the Y and he'll ask where is the bike. He'll say that the movie is almost completed. You please wait. I will come to the room and I'll hand over the bike to you. Am I right? Then what the X will do? He will keep on waiting for the Y. In that time, if he does not do any other work and he is waiting, then X is wasting his time. That is what the CPU is also doing here. CPU has given the IO read signal to the interface and it is waiting that when this flag bit will become 1. So it is just knocking the status register when it will become 1, when it will become, it is not doing any other task. Am I right or wrong? Then the performance of the CPU will be degraded. So that is about the programmed IO. So I hope you have understood what is programmed IO and what is the drawback of the programmed IO. If you still have any doubts related to this concept, feel free to ask me the comments in the or your doubts in the comment section, or if you feel shy to ask the doubts in the comment section, you can send an email to parnikatutorials@gmail.com. If you really like the videos, please press the like button, share the videos with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Even press the bell button to get the regular updates. Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice day.